Hey guys, I want to show you around my garden today. Something really cool happened last night. This is a Peruvian apple cactus. It just opened up. So unfortunately, I'm pretty sure these flowers are self-sterile. So I need another Peruvian apple cactus that's genetically distinctive from this one. So I could use that pollen to pollinate each other. So basically, I need two different Peruvian apple cactuses so they can be the pollen donator for each plant. But unfortunately, this flower probably is going to drop off. But I tried to hand pollinate it itself with its own pollen, but we'll see what happens. It can't hurt, but it's probably not going to work. So I just need another cactus that's genetically distinctive. So let's show you around the garden. This is a multi-grafted peach tree. There's two peaches and one nectarine on it. It's kind of struggling right now, I think, because of the temperatures, but I have it planted in this raised bed. So there's a red bearing peach on here. There's a mid-pride peach and then an Fantasia nectarine. Also have a yuzu mandarin right next to it planted. So these are super cold tolerant. They can take temperatures down to 0 degrees. And then I have a few fig trees in my garden too. This is an Isha fig. So I wanted this fig because some of my ancestors are from Isha, Italy. So I thought that was a cool fig to have. Haven't tasted it yet. Don't have any figs on it. Have harvested a couple figs. But speaking of figs, this is the first fig tree I planted a couple years ago. Look how huge it is right now. So this tree right here started like the same size as this fig. So in only like about 2.5 years, it grew from that size, from that first fig I showed you, to this massive tree right here. If you can see just how big that trunk is, really big. I have it in a whiskey barrel, but it broke through the bottom of the whiskey barrel, and now the tree is basically in the ground. And here in Houston, we have really clay soil, so all that clay has a lot of nutrients for the tree. So it looks like it's not quite ripe, but anyway, so this tree is feeding off all that nutrients in that clayey soil, but it started off in that whiskey barrel. I have a bunch of fruit trees. In containers. This is another fig tree. This is a Flanders fig. I just harvested my first fig from this tree. I planted it in March of this year. Really good tasting fig. Highly recommend it. They're a pretty large fig too. This is a pomegranate tree I just walked by. So this right here, this is a Chicago fig. Have it in the ground as well. And then right next to it, we have a little ruby fig. I harvested my first fig from this tree the other day too. There's a few more. They will turn to a more purplish color when they're ripe, and they have a little bit of a berry flavor. But it's a semi-dwarf tree, so you can plant it in a container. I have it in a 25-gallon container. Just be aware that since it is a semi-dwarf, you're going to have to keep it pruned too, because they can get larger than normal dwarf trees. This is a Republic of Texas orange tree. Half the tree died during the winter because of the frost we have, but it didn't die below the graft line. So this is still a Republic of Orange tree, Republic of Texas orange tree. It's still alive, but highly recommend growing citrus trees in containers. Most of my citrus are actually in containers and not in the ground. There's a little bit of a mess over here. I have to clean it up. So this right here is a pineapple guava. So even though it's called a pineapple guava, this is not a true guava. It is cold tolerant. So I had it in a 100-gallon grow bag, but since then the grow bag has pretty much disintegrated and this tree is in the ground. It has grown a lot in the couple years I've had it in my garden, but it does produce an edible fruit. But the flowers are like a pollinator magnet. So the bees love this tree, so that's why I have it in my garden. To show you around what else I have, I think I saw another fig, so this is almost ripe. There's hundreds of figs on this tree, or something like that. There's a lot. See, but a lot of them aren't ripe yet. All right, so this is a raspberry. Raspberries are really difficult to grow in Texas, but you know, I'm trying anyways. So this is a coffee tree right here. It looks like it has a little sunburn right now, but overall I think it's okay. So coffee trees need acidic soil. So you can use pine bark and there's other things, but I use acidic fertilizer to feed this tree. Might need to fertilize it again. So this right here is a star fruit. And then this is a purple star apple. So both of these trees are tropical trees. I have them in 25-gallon containers. So whenever we got some freezing weather, I'm going to use a dolly and move it into the garage to protect it. But we've got some weeds right here too. So this is not a fruit tree, but this is a red bud tree, the Texas red bud. And then right here we have a bonfire peach tree. This is a dwarf tree that you can grow in a container. Some cactuses. This is a lime, a key lime. Looks a little sad right now. And then right over here, this is a Montrose apple cactus. So this is basically like a mutation of the Peruvian apple cactus. This is another pineapple guava. And then we have some desert roses over here. This is a variegated desert rose. And this is just a normal desert rose right here. But I have a few desert roses in my garden. I like them, but they are very poisonous. So you have to wear gloves when you prune them and be very careful around them. Careful around pets and kids around these too, because if you get the sap on your skin, it could burn your skin. So just be careful with desert roses. So these are some figs that I propagated from that tree right there. So I have a couple plants over here that I need to plant soon. This is a dragon fruit. This is a red mystic dragon fruit. It's self-pollinating. And this is a nectarine, a white queen nectarine that I'm going to plant into that raised bed over here. Show you around over here. I have a couple apple trees. It's just really hot. These trees are just, you know, struggling a little bit in the heat, but they're gonna be okay as long as I give them some water. After I'm done with this video, I'm gonna water everything. Then this is a variegated Eureka pink lemonade. There's one lemon. I think there's one more over here. First time getting lemons on this tree. It's in around a 15-gallon container. And this is my dragon fruit. So I have 3 varieties, but 2 varieties I know what they are. The other variety is a mystery because it was given to me and they weren't sure. So I have a dark star and a purple haze dragon fruit. So they opened up already, but it failed to pollinate because these are self-sterile. Some people online say they're self-pollinating, but that's actually not true. In my case, they seem to be self-sterile. Go open up again. Hopefully I can get, I'm going to try to get another dragon fruit that has a flower on it. So I'm going to check a nursery called JRN. The other one had a flower on it, but the flower fell off because it got banged in the car. So unfortunately it got knocked off. Few citrus trees. So this is a Washington Navel. And then this one right here is a Dancy Tangerine, I think. Yeah, Dancy Tangerine. As you can see, there's a couple tangerines on this tree already. I just got this tree earlier in the year. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, a few. 5, 6. Gonna have a few tangerines soon by the end of the season. Oh, this is not good. So this is my sundowner apple tree. Look, there's some aphids right there. So I'm gonna grab the hose and blast these guys. I don't like seeing those aphids, but you know, it happens when you're in the garden. Got some peppers and basil over here. So this is a raised bed from Vijayga Garden. This is called their castle shaped raised bed. There's some cayenne, Thai peppers, and I have some ghosts and some Reaper peppers in here. And this is another apple tree over here. This is a Granny Smith apple tree. Only needs around 250 chill hours a year to produce fruit. So a chill hour is the time a tree needs to be in dormancy from 32 degrees to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So it needs those hours to produce fruit. So when the tree's in dormancy, it needs so many of those chill hours. So you don't want to plant like, say like a Honeycrisp in Houston, because we only get 450, and a Honeycrisp needs around 1,000 to 1,200 chill hours a year. You'll never get fruit. So this is a Ficus. I'm going to do a bonsai with this tree right here. Ficus, or crazy legs are also called, is a more common name. These are popular trees to turn into bonsais, very beginner friendly. Right here we got some sugar cane. This is a dwarf variety called Pele Smoke. But when they start to droop over, that's when you know it's time to harvest, and you can press your own sugar cane into sugar. So we'll see what happens later this year. Also want to mention that this Pele Smoke sugarcane can grow up to 6 feet tall instead of your standard 9 feet tall. So it's still pretty tall, but a little more manageable than, say, like a 9-foot tall sugar cane. Got some watermelon growing up on this trellis over here. I don't see any fruit yet, but hopefully soon. Got some more citrus trees over here. So I get this question a lot about these 25-gallon containers that I grow a lot of my fruit trees in. So they're always asking me, where'd you get these? I get them at one of my local nurseries called Enchanted Gardens. I think I pay like $12.99 or around $15 for each one. But if you're looking for a similar type of container, I recommend you guys go look at your local nurseries and see if they have something similar to this size, and ask them if they can get, you know, one of these containers for you. So yeah, just look locally. It's probably pretty expensive to get these types of containers online unless you buy them in bulk. But yeah, basically go to your local nurseries to look for these 25-gallon containers. This is a Marlboro Blood Orange. And then we have, what tree was this? Clementine. I keep the tags because I have so many trees. It's hard to keep track of all the varieties. This is a Hand of Buddha Citron. And then this one is a red navel. So a red navel is a mutation from the Washington navel. And then this is another lime. This is a Persian lime. And I have another bonsai. This is another Ficus bonsai over here. I want to get a new pot and repot it soon. We'll see. And then this is a ghost chili that I saved from my garden last year. A couple peppers to harvest from here. But I dug this up and overwintered it and put it back into my garden this year. This one looks ripe, so these are pretty hot, but not as hot as those Reaper peppers. So I showed you that first coffee tree, but I want to show you my second one because this one looks a little more healthier. And I also want to mention that lava sand is a good thing to add to your coffee trees in the potting soil mix, because coffee trees grow well where there's volcano activity, like in Hawaii and other places. So by adding a little bit of that lava sand to the soil can really benefit your coffee trees. So I also want to show you some of my blackberries I'm growing. So this is a Washita, there's a Natchez, and a Prime Arc Freedom. So the Prime Arc Freedoms can grow like 3 inches long. They're supposed to be really big berries. Planted these blackberries this year, but as you can see, one is in a whiskey barrel and the other two are in a Vajayga circle shape raised bed. So this is, I think this is the Natchez, although I forgot which one's what. That's why you gotta label everything and remember which varieties. But I have 3 blackberry varieties here. So by next year, I should have lots of blackberries, because normally they start to fruit on the 2nd year canes. I did have a couple fruits, but I think I should definitely have more by next year. So I also want to show you one of the new desert roses I got the other day. So I'm going to do a video about growing desert roses. One of my most popular videos on my channel is about growing desert roses, but since that time, some of my opinions about like soil and everything has changed. So I'm going to redo that video and give a more updated view on how to grow desert roses, basically a Desert Rose 101 video, so stay tuned for that video. But yeah, just some of my opinions have changed, so I just want to give some more tips and show you guys how to repot this and what kind of soil to use. Then this is a Japanese maple. So this is more of a heat tolerant variety called Fire Glow. I've been looking for one for a long time. You know, they're kind of expensive here, and it's also a gamble growing Japanese maples in Houston because they're more tolerant to zone 8 and I'm zone 9B. So have it in a container. I'm going to keep an eye on it. On super hot days, I could take it inside because it's in a container, but I also have it behind this fig tree so it has some shade and filter sunlight, so it has a better chance of surviving here in Houston. But earlier in the year, I saw a bunch of people posting how they saw Japanese maples at like Walmart and Kroger for like $19.99. I ended up finding one at Kroger, but it was super small, and plus it was not a heat tolerant variety. So always know your varieties. So you can have it suited for your climate, whether it's just any kind of plant, a fruit tree, or just like a Japanese maple like this, but you want something that's going to survive in your climate, whether for the heat or the cold. All right, guys, so that's pretty much everything I want to show you in this garden tour. Let me know in the comments what you're growing, and if you found any information in this video helpful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more gardening videos. Thanks for watching.